Admiral's West, Chinatown, the Cat Club, Music Machine, and the Viper Room. Yeah, it's pretty much the same size. Pretty awesome. The last time we saw our father actually was, he came to come see a show at the Johnny Depp's club, the Viper Room. At the time it was called the Central. And we were super impressed because we sold the joint out.
That's right.
That place was a little smaller, it held about 20 people.
That's right.
That's right. Technically it was a sold-out show, that's right. But it was neat seeing him there holding up the wall in the back and stuff like that. You know, our dad started singing, a lot of people ask us, you know, he was already a television star. And just to go through it really quick, you know, he was a radio star by the time he was 6 years old. Television started after a hit movie for Universal when he was only 8 with his family. Started singing when he was about 16, and I'll tell you why he started singing even though he was a TV star. See, he was a closet rocker, just like a lot of those kids. They couldn't even call it rock and roll when he started. They had to call it rhythm and blues on TV. And wouldn't pass the censors. And now we've got the Kardashians. Yeah, that's just how it works. That's how it works. Our dad was on a date with he went to Hollywood High School when he was on a soundstage, and there was a girl there. Her name was Arlene. And Arlene was a year older than our pop, and I think everybody, all the boys at Hollywood High wanted a date with Arlene.
She was a sure thing.
Yes, she was a sure thing. But she was also kind of the older woman and stuff, and for some reason she just really didn't care that our dad wanted to date her, but she finally said yes. And our pop told us he drove over to her house in the valley in his fancy convertible thinking that would impress her, and she came out to go to a movie with him and sat in the seat. He said a block of ice named Arlene sat in the seat next to him. And so to save the date, he turned on the car radio, and the fates would have it that Elvis was singing That's All Right Mama. And this girl lost her mind over how sexy Elvis was and forgot Ricky Nelson was driving the car. So to save the date, our pop said what anybody in his position at the time would say, which is, well, he's not that great and I'm gonna make a record.
He had no plans.
No plans to make a record until Arlene laughed in his face and said, oh, give me a break, Ricky, you sing, please. And he thought two things immediately. The date was not gonna go well, but he was gonna do whatever it took to make that record to hand to her in front of her friends at school and say, oh yeah, now laugh. And the plan just kind of started unfolding like a lawn chair. Basically, the next day he went to his record store in the neighborhood. Some of you I can see remember record stores. It was called Wallach's Music City at Hollywood and Vine. He loved this place so much, that's where his Hollywood Walk of Fame star was put. Because that's where all the kids used to hang out. If he wasn't on the soundstage making the TV show, he would walk to Wallach's and listen to records. And some genius had designed a machine there that if you had enough allowance money, you could sing a karaoke version of a song, and it would make a little vinyl 45 single for you to take home that was designed to disintegrate after 10 spins. And that's all he needed, because the next part of his plan was his dad. I'm talking about Ozzy, and it's Ozzy Nelson, not Osbourne, the real TV dad, okay? Grandpa Ozzy wrote, produced, edited, directed, and starred in all 435 episodes of the show. Again, New Jersey boy. He still holds a record as the world's youngest Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts of America at 12. That's kind of where it started. He just was born this way. He had a law degree from Rutgers, which was Ivy League at the time. And so that's why the family still owns a TV show. And he always negotiated the contracts on behalf of our dad, so it popped it pretty well. He also invented fire and the wheel. But Ozzy was always short on material. The joke was, don't do anything around Ozzy, he'll write it into a script. And that was our dad's plan. He waited for him to start writing the script for the next week's show. And that little record player kind of just got pushed out onto the shag carpet down the hall from him, and the needle dropped. And it was just loud enough for Ozzy to come to ask what the noise was. And our pop said, well, Pop, this is me singing. Oh, Rick, this is a great weekend. You gotta sing on the show. This is a great idea. Let's do this. Wow, Pop, I didn't think about that. And that was his plan. He was really gonna rub it into Arlene. So they went and they recorded the single with some jazz guys that used to play on the show. Barney Kessel was one of them, great jazz guitar, hated rock and roll till the day he died. But he played on this stuff. And they did Fats Domino's I'm Walking, which was a song that he sang the karaoke thing on. And that week, our dad sang it on the show. Now, it wasn't lip sync. He actually sang it live. If you catch the rerun, you'll see that Ricky is singing live. He just had a natural gift as a singer, probably because his dad was the Ricky Nelson of the 1930s and 40s. He was a heartthrob back then. That's where he met Harriet. By the way, give it up for Harriet Nelson, America's mom. Grandma Harriet was singing at the Cotton Club by the time she was 16, and she was quite the diva, and she could hold a show all by herself, teamed up with our grandfather, went to radio and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, that was in our dad's blood, and it sold 1 million copies that week. It exploded. Nobody really had the real idea what television could do to market records, except for our grandfather, Ozzy. You know, back then, the industry, TV was so new. One, Ozzy thought it was a fad that was going to go away, and you know, he'd get back on the road with his band. And the second thing was the industry was saying free milk and a cow. Kids could get it for free. Why would they go down and buy it? And they were wrong. Ozzy was right. That was something that happened an awful lot. And so our dad sold 1 million copies that week. It exploded. He told us everything changed. He went to school the next day at Hollywood High, and all the girls he grew up with wanted to rip his pants off. It was a crazy time. But he said 2 weeks later, like everybody knew where the Nelsons lived. It was in Hollywood on Camino Palmero. There were no security guards or gates or alarm systems or whatever, even though they were on television every week, and it was a big deal because you had three stations and a local, basically. That was it, 3 networks and a local. So they were used to people knocking on the door, but 2 weeks after that happened and our dad sang on the show, there was a knock at the door. Our dad opened it up to find Arlene standing there to ask him why he wasn't calling her. And our dad was not like this. You'll get this in this show. He was the sweetest guy ever, but he really figured that Arlene, it was high time she learned a lesson. So he said, geez, Arlene, I'm really busy now, and I don't have time to date you anymore, but thank you for coming all the way up here. I'll see you at school, okay? You take care of it, bye, and shut the door. Yes. It's entirely possible, we know she's still alive, that Arlene is in this room right now. So every time we do the show, we say, thank you, Arlene, and eat your heart out. All right, everybody, enough of my yakking. By the way, our dad was so beautiful. If you ever saw him play, he didn't talk.